In this video, we're going to go through some few tips or useful bits of information for Necromancy, whether it is going from things in the early game, then some other useful things that as you kind of get into the higher levels that you'll want to know about. That's pretty much it though, so let's get started. By the way, currently over 50% of you guys aren't subscribed, so if you would like this sort of content, then make sure you're subbed. Maybe check if you aren't, even if you think you already are. Okay, so for you guys that is just starting out in Necromancy, you'll have access to the City of Lodestone. Now, we were just at the ritual site, and it is a little bit of a trek to go from here at the Lodestone if you're going to be using this to go to the bank, for example, all the way back to the top. So what you can do at level 24 Necromancy is that you can do the Rune Mythos quest, which is going to allow you to unlock using Necromancy runes, but it also gives you the City of teleport. Now, this teleport doesn't bring you to like a city center here, which is near the Lodestone. It's really useful and brings you directly to the ritual site. So if you need to do rituals, you can use this teleport, and then if you need the bank, you can use the Lodestone and then just walk to the bank just down the road a little bit. Now, you can also do the area tasks, which will give you a tome that you can teleport directly here as well, and you can also teleport to the blacksmith. So it's definitely worth maybe doing that if you need the tome for the teleports, especially if you're planning on doing skilling like the rune essence and all that sort of stuff. It'll save you a lot of time. The next thing that I'm going to mention is something that people were questioning a freaking ton during the stream, and it was a very common question, so I thought, you know what, we'll include it in here. If you come to the shop here and you look at the stock, you're going to see that all the runes are sold out. Now, as I can tell right now, these are just not available in the shop, but the same for the ectoplasm as well. You can still buy all these out, and you can absolutely go and do that. It doesn't cost that much to do. I'd recommend doing this for a new player anyway, because you'll likely use a ton of this stuff. But at the same time, don't panic that everybody's bought out all of the stock. People were panicking that, how can I ever get anything done if people are just buying out all the stock? People thought the shops were botted and stuff. They're absolutely not. They're not in here right now. I assume they're probably going to like rework the prices of these once they've been once they've settled or something. I don't really know why they're not in stock, but it's the same for the armor shop down the bottom as well, near the bridge and stuff. Some of the stuff just isn't in stock. Whether they're going to be in stock later or not, I really don't know. You would assume so since they're there, but right now they're not. Don't panic. This stuff will replenish, but shop's your own personal stock, so no one's going to come along and like buy out everything so that you can't. Next up, we are going to be returning to the ritual site to talk about actual like rituals and glyphs and stuff. So as you level up, you're going to get access to different glyphs. You'll have the smaller tier ritual site to begin with, and then you'll get the outer layer, and then the full ritual site altogether. And you can use glyphs that aren't part of your actual ritual, which allow you to boost through different things. So if you come here and you go to alteration glyphs, you can get different things like multiply 3 to give you 60% extra output, and you can use that multiple times to get more from it. Now, this is really useful, but it is important to keep in mind that you can actually use an overload. As you saw, multiply 3 wasn't available, but I'm using it here. You can use an overload, and then you go back into here and you can get the levels for it. So if you are only an overload away from being able to use that glyph, then take advantage of boosting your overload, drawing that glyph down. Just keep in mind you will have to re-overload whenever you are going to repair the actual thing. So when you come to repair it here, if it's like whatever degraded or whatever you call it, you'll have to use the overload again to be able to put that back there. But it's definitely worth it. You can save a lot of money doing this too. If you are someone who plans to level Necromancy mostly through rituals and skilling because you just prefer to do skilling rather than combat in game, it is still important to note that when you come to do the Well of Souls, you will need to get at least some combat experience here to be able to unlock the talent points. Talent points will not be given through XP for rituals or anything like that. You have to gain it through combat. So once you do that, you have your little progress bar here. Once that fills up, you'll get your talent points to spend on the actual talent tree, and you will end up with way more talent points than you do with things that you need. So obviously I've unlocked everything here. There's 10 left by the end, but you do have to gain that XP through combat to be able to unlock this sort of stuff. This one relates back to the multiply glyphs and all the other sort of alteration glyphs, but it is really important, and I'm going to mention it because it can save people a lot of money. If you are going to be coming here and using subjugation to create stuff to upgrade, so for example I've got my boots of subjugation in here, it does kind of calculate in raw costs that you need like something crazy like 19 pieces of subjugation to get your gear, right? But you don't need to do this. So when you get to the level of actually using the greater in soul thing here and using your subjugation, you can actually put your output of your cloths up by a lot by using the multiply alteration glyphs with this. What this is going to allow you to do is, as long as you are over 100% of your actual output, so for example, multiply 3 gives 60% of your ritual output, right? It gives you a bonus of 60%. If you can use 2 of these and get that over 100%, which would be 120, then you will get 2 cloths from this. If you get over 200%, then you get 3, and if you can eventually get over more than that, then you can start getting more, right? But this is really important to keep in mind, because subjugation can be incredibly expensive, especially right now. It's pretty expensive to get your gear, so use the multiply glyphs to your advantage, so you can use 1 piece of subjugation and get 3, maybe 4 pieces of cloth from it, rather than just getting 1 per, because you're going to save a ton of money, but also you'll save time as well, because 1 ritual will give you more, so keep that in mind. When you come to upgrade your tier 90 power armor, you're going to be sent off to get a few different boss kills. Now, I'm going to quickly mention a couple of the things that will save a little bit of your worry, but also maybe save you a little bit of stress as well. You're going to have to go and kill a Raxi for one of them. Now, it is important to note that when you do this, it states that you have to use a piece of cloth on a Raxi's corpse, right? You don't need to kill a Raxi in Necromancy gear for this. You can kill a Raxi in regular good old magic, melee or range gear if you've already got that stuff leveled up. Make the fight a lot easier for yourself. Just make sure to take that piece of cloth with you so you can use it on the corpse and get the item that you need. The other bosses will need to be killed with Necromancy though, so just keep that in mind. But with Raxi, don't stress yourself out doing it in Necromancy gear like level 70. Just take high level gear if you've got it and do it that way. Also, when you go to kill Telos, it may be fixed at some point, but when you do kill Telos to get the item that you need for Necromancy, it's dropped on the floor. It is currently hidden in the floor, and it can be quite difficult to actually click on and find. So just drop like a potion on the ground and just use area loot, and you'll be able to pick that up from doing that. Don't teleport out and leave this, and also don't just think, well, it's bugged, it didn't work, and end up doing a ton of Telos kills like I know a few people have. Along your Necromancy adventure, you're going to notice that things like the Undead Slayer perk, the Undead Slayer ability, and also the Salve Amulet E is going to be insanely helpful. It is incredibly important to have these as part of your kit, because both the bosses get affected by this, so you can output a hell of a lot more damage. But also this was really useful for a lot of places while leveling up as well. For example, killing the Ankus in the Stronghold Security, killing Shades if you kill those as well, and things like the Banshees in the Slayer Tower. Specifically for the bosses, these are definitely worth getting, so if you don't have them, they probably are worth some bit of investment if you have the GP to do so. The Undead Slayer perk, the Undead Slayer ability, and also the Salve Amulet E. Once you do get into the combat with this and you have your conjures available to yourself, you will be able to pre-conjure these before a fight starts, which means they cost 0 adrenaline. You can also use the command special attacks for them as well before you're getting a target to cast these for free as well. Some of them cost a hell of a lot. For example, the Ghost is 70% of adrenaline to be able to use the special attack, but if you do this before you have a target, before the fight starts, then it's going to be completely free. So it's going to be really important to do this, as the effects will still apply when you do get a target. If you are going to a boss and you maybe conjure something, but then you're like, oh crap, I forgot this, it can be a little bit of a pain to have to wait for your conjures to then like unconjure or despawn or whatever before you can then resummon them again before going into the fight. If you screw something up with your preset, or maybe you accidentally casted its command ability too soon, you can't get rid of them, but you can. Just take off your offhand weapon and they will completely disappear, and then you're absolutely good to go. There's been a few times at first where I was like, bro, I really wish that I could just freaking get rid of these things. I'm gonna have to sit here and wait now until they despawn, and then I can go back into the fight. But you can just take your offhand off, they'll despawn. It saves a little bit of time, but I do this quite a lot. It is useful to know about. Finally, you don't have access to any specific Necromancy auras, but auras are still going to be important to use. You can take advantage of all hybrid combat auras such as Dark Magic, such as the Madra aura. You can also use things like the Inspiration aura to get extra adrenaline, Vampirism aura, Penance aura. All these sort of things are still going to be really useful to take advantage of. So while you don't have anything like Maniacal, Reckless or Berserk, take advantage of these other auras. They will still make a big difference. And there you go. There's 10 things that you should know about Necromancy from either early game or going towards the later game as well that should be useful along your adventure. If you can think of any other tips that you've learned along the way that you think should be shared with other people, leave them in the comments, and then people can scroll through and learn other stuff as well, and then maybe you can find some cool stuff from other people too. And if there's a lot of it, then of course I'll grab those comments, use them in a future video, and screenshot you guys for a little bit of credit for the video as well. Anyway, I hope you all found it useful. I hope you all enjoyed. Remember, more than 50% of you guys that are watching all the time are not subbed, so check you are. And other than that, I'll catch you all in the next video. See you later, guys. Bye.